I see it far too often. People stay in the same job for far too long. Staying in the same place can stagnate your skills and compensation, which is far from ideal. That's why in this video, I want to give you 4 telltale signs that you should probably move on from your current role. Let's get into it. Even if you're really happy in your current position, there is nothing wrong with speaking to recruiters and looking at companies that really interest you. Interviewing is a skill, so it's not a bad idea to carry on interviewing, even if you're really happy, to keep your skills really sharp. Ryan Peterman, who is a staff software engineer at Meta, even wrote a whole article explaining exactly why you should interview even if you're happy in your current position. His main argument was that it can give you confidence that you're currently at the best place for your skills and abilities at this point in time. Looking for a job when you need one is probably the worst time because you're not in an abundance mindset. You will typically apply for fewer roles and ones that actually interest you. You're probably not likely to prepare that much because you currently have a job you like, so that over preparation is not needed and you pretty much save time. And finally, it keeps your skills sharp, but also shows you the areas that you're missing or technologies that you need to develop that the current market really wants. Also, another point that I would like to add is that you may just get an offer that is just too good to reject. This has happened to me in the past, and that is something that just comes out of you exploring opportunities. You may land your dream role without even looking for it, which is amazing. I'm also not saying that you should just jump ship whenever. Stay at a company long enough where you feel like you've delivered impact, made a meaningful difference to the business. Then maybe you can explore other opportunities, but only once you feel solid and that you've learned a lot at your current position. The time it takes to feel ready to move on to the next job will vary per company and per person. I would say at least a year, preferably 2 if possible. However, like I said, if you are offered something that is just too good to pass on, then no matter where you are in your career, how long you've been in a current job, just take it, particularly if your gut is telling you that you should. If you despise your current company or your current role, then move. There is no point in being miserable every single day because it's just not worth it. Unhappiness at work can be caused by many things, like culture, work hours, work type, colleagues. There's just so many things, and to be honest, some of them can be fixed. If everything is really good, but there is just one problem, then in my opinion, you should try and fix that one issue. Let's say, for example, you're struggling with a colleague. Try to speak to them and reach an arrangement when you're both happy. These are things that you should be more proactive in, and like I said, if it's only one issue, then try and resolve it because that's a lot easier and probably a lot better than looking for another job. However, if it's a combination of things or stuff that's really out of your control, like senior management, culture, the type of work, then maybe consider moving. You have to kind of weigh up whether the thing you are struggling with in your current company is workoutable. If it is, then try that. If it's not, then move. Now, I'm sure people will say to me, well, easier said than done, and moving jobs is really hard. And if I'm being brutally honest, yes, you are right, moving jobs is hard. But maybe my age, because I'm still quite young, and maybe I'm being a bit naive, but I would rather spend months looking for a job that I really like than risk spending years, even decades in a job I really, really hate. Sure, it will be difficult for a few months finding that job that I enjoy, but in my opinion, it's really worth the investment because I don't want to be miserable in pretty much what I do most of my time for the rest of my life. There is a famous saying in the job market where you should be either learning or earning, and preferably you should be getting both. Learning is essentially what it says on the tin. So if you look back year on year in your current position at your current company, have you developed your skills, abilities, soft skills, etc.? Like, have you grown and learned a lot at your current company? If, say, you have for the first few years, but over the past 2 or couple of years, you've noticed your skills are kind of not improving or you're not learning anything new, then that's a sign that your learning opportunities at your current position have stagnated. In a similar vein, earning is about working out essentially for someone with your current skills, abilities, experience. Are you earning the market rate? Ideally above the market rate if possible. It's not abnormal for people who have been in the same role in the same position for a very long time to be slightly underpaid compared to the market. Of course, the ideal scenario is that you have both. You're both learning and earning. If this is the case, there is no reason for you to move unless the offer you get from this new company is just too good to pass on. If you're not getting both, then that's also a no-brainer and you should probably move. Even if you're happy, I would probably move on. And chances are you're probably not happy because you're not developing, you're not earning money, so why would you be happy in that current position? The trickier part is in the middle, where you have one but not the other. And at this point, it's kind of personal and it really depends on the extent of whether one is so much worse than the other, for example. And like I said, it's really subjective and every situation is different. But hopefully what I'm going to say next will give you some more clarity on whether you should leave or should stay. If you're getting paid good money and it's the learning aspect that you're missing, then in my opinion, this one is a lot easier to fix. You can start by asking your line manager about putting you on different projects or even going to a different team where you think you'll learn new skills and develop your current abilities. From my experience, this is actually quite easily done and a lot of companies are quite receptive to this. If you have the capacity, you can also invest in your abilities outside of work. So in your spare time, upskill yourself in things you want to learn and then try and implement that in your daily work. The main point I want to make here is that companies are not going to try and make you worse, right? It's in the company's best interest for you to develop and become a better employee because it benefits them. If you are learning a lot but you're not earning, this one is a lot harder because it revolves a lot of politics and bureaucracy in a lot of companies. I personally find money unnecessarily a taboo subject, particularly here in the UK. So I recommend just being honest and open up a dialogue with your line manager or head of department about your concerns about your current pay. Do your research and show that someone with your current abilities, skill sets, and experience should be getting paid this, and that you think you're being currently undervalued or underpaid in your current position. It's not being rude, but it's just being honest with where you value yourself and more importantly, where the market values you. Even better, if you have recruiters reaching out to you offering you X amount, tell them that. Don't say you're looking to move, right? But just say that I'm being reached out by other people, this is what they're offering me, and this is where I believe my market rate should be. And try and negotiate using those terms. Again, you're not being rude, you're just using facts and statistics to back up where you think your earnings should be. And like I said, don't feel awkward about it. At the end of the day, we work for money, we work because we enjoy it, true, but we need the money to survive. It's our livelihoods. And you should be firm about it and be really honest, and there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first. And the final one is that you don't see any way of how you're going to develop or grow in your current position. Most companies should have some sort of framework or guidelines about how you reach the next level. And if your company doesn't have this, then chances are your career is going to stagnate because you're not kind of upskilling yourself or have a target goal that will tell you how to reach the next level. Now, of course, this does vary a lot between companies. Established tech firms will likely have a really clear kind of roadmap, guidelines, etc. about how you move up the ranks at that company. Whereas if you're a startup, then this is probably not the case because the company is mainly focused on just growing and building up their profits and their revenue, etc. They're not necessarily focused on improving the careers of people because they're not as established and it's not very clear for them because they're such a new company. In my opinion, this growth problem is actually quite solvable. You can ask your line manager, head of department, even CTO about your concerns of where you see yourself developing in this current organization. And normally they will probably solve this issue between themselves and give you guidelines or tips and feedback about how you can reach the next kind of promotion that you're after. It's also in their best interest because they want to keep employees and they also want to motivate employees who want to grow to the next level because it benefits the business. However, if you do mention all these things about your concerns for growth, development, etc., and nothing really happens given a long enough time scale, then maybe consider moving because your abilities may stagnate. Like I said, you're not kind of working towards a target, and so you may be going in the wrong direction, and that's very detrimental to your career because you may waste a year or two learning things or working aimlessly, which, like I said, is not ideal because you'd be wasting time where you could have a lot more focus and develop your abilities a lot better. If you enjoyed this video and you want more data science advice like this, then make sure you check out my weekly newsletter, Dishing the Data. I send it every Monday morning and it's all about my thoughts and experiences as a practicing data scientist. If that sounds interesting, I'll leave a link in the description below for you to check it out.